Hello everyone, this is Crypto Maximalist. Welcome back to another video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already and get involved if you like the content. So we're going to be taking a technical look at Bitcoin today. You can see some of the areas that I have just cursorily marked up here, basically. You can quite clearly see, we've got some of our indicators here. We've got our EMAs, we've got our RSI, we've got our MACD as well. Just basically giving us an idea of generally what's going on with Bitcoin. You can see, as we all well know, if you're still in the crypto space right now, congratulations. You'll be well aware of basically what's going on here. You can see very clearly that we have pretty much just been going sideways for the past, 3 months now? It's been, 3 months. June, we come down June here, we make our low, we make our high. We break the range, we come back in the range. June, July, August, September. This is like going on 6 or 7 months now, isn't it? Just consolidating, going sideways. Everything very boring, people getting, shaken out of the market, people losing interest in going elsewhere. You can see realistically here, in terms of our EMAs, we haven't really had a really decent bullish crossover, essentially since back here. Realistically, all the way back here, where we actually did come and, we formed our the cross of our EMAs here, our 20 and our 50. We just come down and down and down. Is this a 50 or a 55? I just need to check. 55, so it's 20 and 55, so these are essentially Fibonacci EMAs, aren't they? So you can see, we have just been rolling and rolling and rolling, haven't we? And just continuing to break these key levels of support. I just marked these out quickly. You can see very key level of support here, which would you just roll over from. Consolidation and roll. A key level in this area here. You'd say, that previous resistance flipped into support, 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 but we did eventually roll over and break it, didn't we? Because you can see we've come down. We've come back up here, but we've failed to come and break this previous swing high here. And then as a result, we've created this trend line resistance and we have rolled over like this. Ever since here, really, we have had that very aggressive push to the downside over that period, didn't we? From about that, what are we looking at here? From that March to that June area, we've essentially just, come down, rolled, consolidated and had a massive, these are essentially liquidation, capitulation kind of candle events, aren't they? Where people are just getting stopped out, rolling capitulations in the market, maximum fear, the RSI absolutely in the floor. And these things do happen in cryptocurrency. It is very, very volatile. And you can see, just as easily as we can run, essentially from what is this, October, where we're at around 11K all the way to 65K in April. This is essentially, 7 months. We're doing about, 4, 5, 6x. Coming up to that, you can just as easily roll over in such a, a similar time frame, really, coming to the downside. So, long term, obviously, we all love to look at Bitcoin for the long term and see, this is fantastic price action for the long term. You'd obviously say, considering, the adoption curve of Bitcoin in general and where cryptocurrency is going, the massive potential of it, you would say, long term, you would be bullish on Bitcoin. But, right now, we have been rolling over, haven't we? Over the past year, it's been a real roller coaster. So congratulations if you're still here. You can see here, basically, it was about this time last year where we hit that actual peak for Bitcoin, wasn't it? And since then, we have essentially been in a bear market, haven't we, for the past year? Price action just continually going down. And now looking like potentially, I don't want to overshoot the gun here, but you would say, we have reached a very prolonged consolidation period here, haven't we? And you can see, we're showing lots of signs that potentially we are getting close to a bottom for Bitcoin. It might not be the bottom. Obviously, if we do roll over from here, targets to the downside, you could easily come down here to that next swing low at around, 16K. If we do lose this swing low here, heading back down into this big area of supply, we would say, in this area here, loads and loads of support on these previous swing highs, which could come down. We could come down, find that as resistance and then get a rally. But, things at the minute, we have just been going sideways. The volume is very, very low in the market in general. You can see very clearly, if you just look at these peaks in volume here to now, you can see over time, the volume here decreasing substantially. And, but we are showing some signs of life in the market, which I will now explain. The things that I've seen personally, obviously these are no way concrete evidence that we are just going to, go straight back to the upside, but we're starting to see some patterns getting broken out of here. We've obviously got this big key resistance, which we will have to go and tackle at some point if we do break out of this range again. But you can see here, for at the very least, you know, this very steep decline that we had over that 3 or 4 month period from March to June. Obviously stuck under resistance here, roll, massive capitulation here. We come back up, we test the resistance again, but this time you can see, if we just zoom in here so you can see what's going on, we've actually come up, we've broken out, we've back tested it, we've actually got above our 20 EMA here, which is also interesting to see. We come up again, obviously we get a bit too overextended for the current market sentiment, because you can see here we actually roll back inside of the range. We come back below our EMAs, but you can see very clearly here we've come and we've retested that previous resistance as support, and it's actually been found to be, you know, a very valid support, which is interesting. So we have actually broken out of one, at the very least, key resistance here, which is that, you know, steep decline downtrend that we did say over that period there. We come back up to the top of the range. We test the top of the range perfectly, get a big rejection here, don't we? We come back to the bottom of the range. You know, we basically come down, test support, holding pretty strong right now, isn't it? Obviously, as we said, the volume is very low, but in terms of the RSI as well, really we're just chopping it sideways, aren't we, in the range, waiting for a big move in either direction. So, I mean, considering how bad the sentiment is in the world right now for financial markets, we've got massive inflation, you know, interest rates are absolutely, you know, you would say destroying the stock market right now to some extent. The stock market, you know, causing Bitcoin to definitely have a lot of negative sentiment as well, rolling over, etc. And obviously with world events going on right now, we've got massive energy crisis in the UK and Europe especially, which is where I'm from. And obviously with the war in Ukraine right now, obviously also a massive catalyst for negative sentiment in the market. Considering all of these things, you could say, you know, Bitcoin realistically, it has just been chopping sideways, hasn't it? So we'd say we are definitely, you know, showing potential signs of life here. As you can see, we do think there is a bit of a bullish divergence potentially here. Price action trying to push to the downside, to push through the bottom of this range here. But, you know, the RSI is showing that we are actually seeing potentially, you know, a bit less strength in this price action that has been trying to force its way to the downside than we saw here. So these bullish divergences, potentially we will be seeing some nice, you know, at the very least coming back up, testing the top of this range. And eventually we are going to have to come up, if this does continue to range for, you know, prolonged periods, eventually we're going to do something like this, where we're probably going to come up, we're going to test this resistance again. And this will really be the key, won't it? Because, I mean, if we break this resistance, I think we can realistically say we have, you know, we've come down, we've made potentially a double bottom or, you know, a triple bottom or something like this here. And if that was the case, we come up and test the resistance. If we broke that, back tested a support, you can obviously start making your way up through your levels again like that. But right now, really, there's nothing much to say other than Bitcoin, you know, it's chopping sideways, isn't it? So we would say, if we just take a quick look at the hourly, let's just take a quick look at the hourly and see what's going on. You can see, obviously, many instances here of just the price action essentially trying to come down. It's tested the bottom of this range and it is looking very strong support, isn't it? Say to, like, over the past few days, we have literally just been chopping it sideways. Look, zooming in here, we have just spikes up and down in various places, looking like, you know, these could potentially be quite large orders actually, like, you know, big people getting into the market. I mean, a lot of people right now who are in cryptocurrency are stacking sats, they're stacking Bitcoin, stacking Ethereum, waiting for, you know, potentially the long term. Right now, the entries are looking pretty nice on Bitcoin. So that would be our analysis for today, guys. Thank you everyone for watching. Make sure to check out the links in the description below to support the channel, and we will see you in the next video.